Okay, Covert Witness back again. Episode 7. Quite an esoteric number is that. Some random musings and thoughts on the situation that we're in regarding UFOs and coming in over the house. And just to remember that these Covert Witness blogs that I do are for people who are having interactions, are keeping it very quiet, are off radar, aren't talking about them. You might be in a job of responsibility somewhere, you might be just the ordinary guy or girl on the street, and so somebody's got to do it, somebody's got to show the roadmap and point the way as to what's going on, and that appears to be what's happening with me. These blogs are not for the faint-hearted. They're also delivering product in some way as well, when you think about it, delivering intelligence product, because they're painting a picture, a landscape, in fact a roadmap in a way of what's going on and what's happening. And so this particular Covert Witness blog is I will say, just put a disclaimer in, that it is for entertainment purposes only. The fact of the matter is, exotic mind control technology being tested by the military upon me cannot be ruled out. There again, I am 90% certain that we are having interaction with UFOs. Some of it is not friendly either. Yeah, so that's it. And this is the area that I want to go into without, excuse me, the area I want to go into without provoking fear in people. People who are contactee experiencers have a lot of shit to put up with it, and I know I'm one of them. There is an agenda at the moment in the UK, America, probably not in certain other countries like Russia, India, Peru. I'm thinking even Belgium, where they're a bit more open about this. The Belgian Air Force certainly said that they'd been tracking UFOs that were non-human, under non-human piloting, and it's interesting to note that these experiences have painted quite a picture for me. I'm very angry over things that have happened just recently, and I want to take you back to a few years ago, the clips on YouTube, when I was out and about with quite an obsession really to go out and film them, not knowing, not having a clue what I was doing. And I assumed, which is dangerous, that that these things come in peace, shoot to kill. And I assumed that all were friendly, and all aren't. The majority are, but we're dealing with a minority of silence, I think the word is. A minority silence that enforces on the majority to keep quiet about the UFO situation. And that is part of the problem, I think, in terms of consciousness and how humanity is evolving. Because some of these guys in America who were involved in this, from Corso to a few others, have said that this is the cause of the problem. And it is. I think part of the lockdown secrecy is problematic, because it's causing all kinds of wars and conflicts to happen within the human civilization, because we're not evolving. Instead, with the chance to evolve has been kept quiet. But there again, on saying that, I don't think they're here to be our saviours or anything like that at all. And real life is very different dealing with UFOs and the people behind them to what's written about on the internet. There's an agenda, especially in the UK, to keep it quiet. And with me placing this in the public domain, they'll no about be, or may not be, an agenda to discredit, an agenda to make sure that whatever it isn't what I'm talking about. It's something else. Anything but syndrome, as Dr. Stephen Greer said. So I make no bones about putting this in the public domain in order to inform people. And as I've said, it's not for you if you think I'm some sort of raving nutter. Not for you if you don't believe in this. This is for the people out there who are persons of interest, keeping quiet, having interactions, don't know what to make of it. But yet they are the person down the street who's the businessman, the accountant, that kind of thing. And people really, I know, because I've had the emails, people are having interactions. So, where was I? Waffling. 2 years. I'm not waffling, I'm informing. I'm just not beating myself up about that, because you want to know. People want to know I've had emails. They think these Covert Witness blogs are fantastic. So, situation, where are we? Yeah, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, when I used to go out and film them quite obsessively. And there's one particular YouTube clip of one of these dot of light things flying over me, and I'm going, oh, that has pleased me. I even say it, oh, that has pleased me. I can reflect on the naive tone of my voice as well, as if the bloody things come over to say hello and this is amazing and oh isn't this great, and I've proved a point to myself that they weren't coming over to say hello. They are observing in a very militaristic fashion what I'm dealing with, what I'm liaising with. They're observing. They're another party. It's mysterious. Now, this is where it gets a bit high, strange, black, a bit tasty, as it were, because we've got a situation occurring where I was right in my assessment, and what was happening was I was looking on the lookout for the decent UFO footage, which I've still not got yet. I'll get it, but I've still not got it yet. Instead, what I get is these dot of light things flying around, little dots of light. They've got no strobe sequence to them. They're low, they're high, their manoeuvrability is exceptional. They'll sometimes shine brightly. I actually remember one evening falling off my bike down a ditch, of all things, with my radio kit on my back. Misplaced my footing, went tumbling down this ditch with a bicycle, couldn't get up. Out of nowhere, one of these bright light UFOs just appeared and flew directly over me just to check that I was all right. And then some guy appeared who was walking on the towpath and got me out of the situation. So they're there, they're present. The question is who's friend, who's foe? In fact, you can't trust anyone, and don't trust anyone. Cannot trust anybody in this game. You just cannot. And that will be your guiding light. I'm always reflected of Master Yoda doing the old cooking pot stirring routine. You don't trust anyone. And this is a case in point, because the situation behind the scenes with the people with these UFOs, who are, we will call them alien, so that they're not like us, is an interesting one. So I am waiting for this UFO footage that I want to take, which I understand is going to be pretty mind-blowing. It's not happened yet. I'm as cynical as the next person, so I have to be. So it's not happened yet. But what did happen the other evening is that I had my head fucking scrambled by one of these UFOs. Now, the reason, so a few years back, I'm going, oh, well, that's pleased me, it's turned up. And then, kind of like about a year later, I was attacked by one in the field, in a field nearby where I took a film crew to. Literally, it had a go. And then I was walking down the street one day on a morning, I'd just finished my night shift many moons ago, and it may have been a New Year's Day or a New Year's Eve. I was on night, so it could have been a New Year's Day in about 2003, something like that. And once again it appeared, and I got this vibration sensation in my skull, and then this voice telling me to be quiet, in a very menacing way really, because it's voice to skull technology, and voice to skull, or VTS, if you're reading the paper or reading something, your thoughts are not your own. That thought stream is replaced by somebody else talking. The thing with schizophrenia, of course, is that that's all gibberish and incoherent. This is very coherent, very talking my subjects, they know, I know kind of thing. So, waiting for this killer UFO footage last week, still not turned up, but instead I get awoken at 3 and 4 in the morning by this, ladies and gentlemen, and this is not for the faint-hearted, which is why this clip is 18. I get this thing saying, "We're here, come out, now!" And what was happening was, whatever this was, and I could tell in sleep that they were flying over the house, they were provoking me to come outside. But it wasn't me they were interested in, they wanted to see what was going to turn up. That's whoever they are, wanted to see what was going to turn up. And then last week, I got my head scrambled by one of them. It was unreal. And in a bizarre way, I'm glad it happened, because I've learnt more from the experience, but it was not pleasant. And it came over that I was stood talking to my friend on my radio. I'm a radio amateur. Quite a few radio hams are into all this. Let me think now. Coast to Coast guy, he's into this. He's a big radio ham. George Norrie, big radio ham fan. I am big radio ham fan. One evening, in fact a few years ago, I was talking to my friend and one of these things flew over and he told me I'd gone missing for 10 minutes off the radio. But yet when I talked to him, I was there all the time. But he told me I'd gone missing for 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes unaccounted time when one of these things flown over. Because you don't know who they are, you don't know what time frame they're in, you don't even know what dimension they're in, but they've come into this domain. So in it comes, just finished talking to my friend, and it comes over the house. Just comes over the house. This dot of light near over the house. I thought, oh, we've got company yet again. Here we go. Yeah, yada yada. Because I've had it since childhood, so I just know what it's all about. So, by the way, the snoring sound is really kind of like my way of coping with it, because what happened is in fact quite hair raising, and I got whacked by this thing, this UFO, and it was once again doing the old thought stream thing, and what it said was kind of like interesting. It was kind of like enforcing the silence to keep quiet about all this, not to talk about it. And then it did something else. And what it is, it's the voice, the thought stream is replaced by somebody else who is quite coherent in what they're saying to you, and it was quite menacing what they did. And it completely just frazzled my head. I had a meltdown with myself over it because it did something else. I'm not quite sure, but it evoked potentials. When I say evoke potentials, if you're walking to a door, if your head is looking towards a door and you want to open that door, the brain will have an excitation potential signature. So my brain gives off certain signatures which they will be able to pick up on. And so they started huffing and puffing and so on and so forth. And it really, really upset me. It really, really sent me into a bit of a meltdown with myself. And I've recovered from it. Because what was also fascinating is yesterday afternoon I nodded off, had a snooze. I'm at that age where I need my afternoon nap. Just half an hour. I'm knackered, frazzled to a cinder with it. I'm showing you this because this is what the real life situation is in dealing with all this, in being a covert witness and being involved with it. And a lot of people can't handle it. You have to be a special breed of person to handle it. And as I say, there is an agenda, a very correct agenda of keeping a lid on, keeping it quiet. And I know I was targeted for 5 years by human forces with mind control, but this is something else. I have an educated guess as to what it is and who they are. 2 educated guesses where I could be right, but I'll keep that out just the public domain for now, because I don't want to panic people, because actually what they were doing is a small jigsaw puzzle of what I would term the realised human being. In that this is what happened when the human being awakens to the cosmos and sees other things out there, similar to the Matrix, where there's that famous scene, isn't there, where she goes up with Neo above the sky, above the clouds, and she sees the sky. She's never seen it before because she's been in the Matrix. Trinity, isn't it? And she's never seen anything like it, and then she's put back down to Earth again. This is a similar situation, but still you trust no one, you're not sure of the ethics, you're not sure why they're here. So these bloody things that kept coming over, it was hair-raising. It's been a hair-raising week with it. And they're on my YouTube thing, these dots of light. They're on my YouTube channel. And they're elusive, they don't want to be filmed because that's not the agenda. They're monitoring what's happening. There's something that is to do with the enforcement of silence regarding this. It's called the silence. And it is a silent conspiracy to keep this all quiet. I'm very lucky to place all this in the public domain, really, of what's going on. So, the liaison continued and I fell asleep yesterday. And then I started to hear, as they do, because it gets neurologically stressful, especially when you're in kind of like the dreamscape. And what happens is, as I'll just recap, is that, and some of you may have had this, so some of you may have had this scenario occur when you're dreaming. You're having a nice dream. It can happen where you have missing time in dreamscape, whereby you're extracted from the dream, put back in again, and it's as if you had missing time in the reality that you're in. They can switch into parallel universes. That can sometimes happen. This is not for the faint-hearted. But what is interesting is the dreamscape thing. So you're having a nice dream, let's say of a nice orchard or something like that. How symbolic, an orchard, apples and all that. Yeah, having a nice dream, and then all of a sudden somebody walks into it as if you're looking at me now on camera, perfectly real, and goes, hello, and they're not human. They just do not look like us at all. And it's not something that your imagination's made up, they're there. You'll know about it, and you do know about it because some of you out there are having these experiences. And that is what I would term, not just entering the dreamscape, but I would term it as entering a continuum. It's very much like the film Inception, where there's levelled layers of reality going on. And it becomes like a military kind of dream warfare type zone, really, in a way. There's no getting away from it, because that's what appears to go on. And so I snoozed off again, and once again I was awoken gently, because I'd nodded off and time was getting on, I needed to be somewhere. I was awoken gently, shook gently, and then I heard this: "I have piercing cobalt blue eyes," just like that. And I thought, oh, hello, hello, hello. And that was referring to a vision I had a few weeks back of this beautiful lady, high forehead, and beautiful cobalt blue eyes, and ginger hair, tied back beautifully, flowing ginger hair, all tied back, and you know, the skin tone that went with it, and just very pleasant, really. Pleasant is the word. But you trust no one. You cannot trust anyone in this game at all. You cannot. That's my rule. You don't trust them. Trust what you see. Trust anyone or anything in this game. You'll survive. Walk away from it as well. That might help. But for some of us, we can't walk away. We're continually 24/7 involved in it all. So we can clearly see that we have Klingons on the starboard bow, and they've certainly shown their true colours. And the saga will continue. I will film what I want to film. I will get there eventually with it. But I think that people should indeed not panic and just be cautious of the fact that it is a paranormal world out here. It is a universe that is teeming with life. We're not alone, but it's what the agendas are, especially with the human race and where we're going. I get the impression that humanity is controlled by something that is out of sight, and that it's been kept covered up for time immemorial, which it has. And a lot of my friends who've emailed me who's had these experiences agree with me that it is that the ancient tribal, from the Maya to the Zulu, knew about this agenda, that it was kept covered up, that it's among us as well, and it is. They are among us also, which is a different thing. And the thing is, as Robert Dean said, if anybody is not familiar with Robert Dean, he did something, he was involved with NATO in some way. NATO are involved with UFOs and mind control, and they keep it very quiet, but they are. It's of interest. It is of interest, even though they say it's of no defence significance. And he was saying that they had to do an assessment, did NATO, because UFOs were coming in over Russia, and the Russians thought they were being attacked. UFOs were coming in over the NATO borders, over NATO countries' borders, and NATO thought it was the Russians. It wasn't. It was these UFOs. In 1950, the Americans wondered what the hell hit them. It was documented when these UFOs started coming in, and they had to shoot them down. Hence the term, shoot them down. You know, so there you go. So there's ways and means of defending oneself as well with one of these things, which is something that we won't really go into at the moment. But that's what happened to me this week, and I've learnt from it. I have, but it's very tiring, very demanding. So I'm waiting now to see what goes on again. All I can do is just really go with it and just pray every day for my sanity with it all, trying to keep a grip on it all, because it's not pleasant what happened there. But it's only part of the jigsaw. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's only a small picture of the jigsaw, and obviously it would appear that there's something more advanced, something wiser. In other words, a smarter player in the game, a smarter opponent than what's going on. Isn't that right, Gerald? A smarter opponent. In order to get smarter, you play a smarter opponent. And when I talk about Gerald, I'm talking about a man who targeted me for a number of years, and I hope he's learnt from it as well. I do. I hope he's learnt from it as well, because it was quite a private little war. This is what goes on in real life. I am Covert Witness. We'll be putting more stuff up. And what I'll say is just tread with caution if you're having these experiences. Just tread with caution. Don't trust anyone at all with it. Just tread with caution. And I'll keep delivering this information as best I can. See if we can get the killer UFO footage. So that's what happened to me this week. I was literally kind of like attacked with one of these things. Invaded my mind. Not pleasant. Got through it. Thank God in a way I'm being watched over, it would appear. So thank God for that. And we'll see where it all leads to. This is Covert Witness. Over and out.